I am Kit, and this is me 6 months on low dose testosterone and finasteride. There haven't been too many drastic changes this month. It does seem to be on a little coasting time right now. My voice has dropped down into the male range. It's gone up and down a little bit, but it does seem to be hovering at the bottom of what the app, at least, is calling the androgynous range. I do know it's still not passing for masculine because I was incorrectly gendered when I was out in public this month, even though I was wearing my binder and my masculine outfit. My acne has mostly dissipated this month. It's come back a little bit in this last week, but that could be because of the tea. It could be because I've been working outside a lot in the hot sun, and the sweating has just increased my propensity to have acne. My face does seem to have changed a little bit this month. I do seem to have a more square jawline than I did when I checked my facial shape. Did just a picture this today just to see, compared to like even just 2 weeks ago. It does look like my chin has squared off a little and my cheeks have lost some roundness, and you can see a little more squareness around the corners here. So that feels good. That's one of the changes that has been bothering me, that is not changing very quickly. And one of the reasons I was thinking about increasing my T dose or going off finasteride just to see if those masculine changes would happen faster. In addition to my voice dropping, I have also noticed that my singing voice has gone down in range. I can still hit the high notes that I used to, but I can also sing in a deeper register. I'm usually a mezzo, but I can sing in alto range now, and it was really exciting when I found out that my voice had deepened enough for me to consistently and comfortably hit those deeper notes. Let's see. My body, I haven't been monitoring my body measurements too much. I did check 1 week this month, and it's gone down slightly, but because I've decided to change my diet, instead of being on a strict calorie restriction, I've gone to more of a what I would need my calorie to be at my ideal body weight. So I am following that daily, increasing my allowable calories during work days, and still having a pretty limited allotment on the weekends when I'm not doing a lot of work. But I do feel like I have more energy. I do feel like it's less stressful for me now when I don't have to monitor quite so closely. And I'm allowing myself more treats that I was really restricted on before. My muscle mass, I don't know that I've particularly noticed anything changing or increasing. I do know I've been hauling around a lot of heavy boards for work lately, and they weren't, too cumbersome, other than the fact that they were 12 feet long and 10 feet wide. They weren't too heavy for me. Other than that, I haven't particularly been hauling around heavy materials. My finasteride is still preventing the changes that I didn't particularly want. I still haven't had any facial hair, increased body hair, balding, or bottom growth. My skin hasn't become any more noticeably oily or thick. I don't exactly know what I'd be looking for with thickness, but like some people say their veins become more prominent. I haven't noticed that either. My body scent hasn't changed from the last several months. My sex drive still hasn't particularly changed. It's gone up slightly, maybe since the beginning, but it's still nothing that stands out as a big change. I am on, several mental health medications. Maybe that is inadvertently keeping my libido lower than it would be on testosterone. But at this point, I don't think I'm going to have any big sex drive spikes. My mood has been relatively stable. There's been a lot of life events happening that have caused me to deal with more stress than I'm used to than normally. But bipolar wise, I haven't had anything happen since my cycling last month. Speaking of my cycling last month, I track my cycles every time they happen. I've been doing it for about 4 years. And I was looking at my tracking sheets and I noticed the pattern that every May I do seem to have a hypomanic episode. I haven't had a real manic episode like this year before, but it is an interesting pattern to note that perhaps the tea didn't just cause everything to drastically shift. Maybe it enhanced my hypomania into mania, but if that does seem to be a pattern, the tea may not be affecting my bipolar the way I was afraid it would. So we'll have to see when my next cycle comes around. I am expecting that anytime now. I don't think I have anything else particularly tea related, but there are several life changes that have been happening. The first week of the month, I did break up with a long-term relationship I'd had. Long-term for me, 8 months. My feelings towards this person had been changing ever since I started tea. We had been, sort of getting into things, sort of getting hands-on before tea. But after I started tea and I started experiencing more body dysphoria, I didn't want to be touched as much. I didn't want to be as physically close. And that started pulling me away emotionally. And the feelings I had for this person just so slowly started dissipating until one day we got together and I just looked at them and I was like, I feel nothing for you anymore. Just maybe some platonic friendship, but no romantic feelings and certainly no sexual feelings. And it caused me a lot of distress for a couple of weeks trying to figure out if it was tea related specifically, if the tea has altered my ability to emotionally connect with people, or if it was just because it drew away so much of my attention, of my energy into this new phase of my life that I just didn't have the energy to give to a relationship. I still haven't come to any clear conclusions despite talking with 2 therapists about it. It's maybe something I don't know if I'll ever be able to answer why I lost my feelings for this person. It worries me to know maybe am I even capable of feeling these things for somebody like in a long-term, like years-term relationship again. But it's something that I've just sort of accepted at this point, and I'm, hoping that I'll still meet somebody out there who will be able to, I'll be able to connect with better. I also found a new game this month. It's called the Bastard of Camelot. It's about you are trying to become a knight of the round table in King Arthur's court. You are also King Arthur's illegitimate child, so you're dealing with a lot of intrigue and hatred. And at first I was kind of frustrated with it because you had to choose if you're a boy or a girl at the beginning, but later on in the story it really encouraged you to explore your identity, to choose maybe you're non-binary or trans, to choose, if you are taking, because it's King Arthur, there's magic, that there's a magic potion that gives you the right puberty or halts puberty for a while. And I found that really, really exciting, really encouraging to see that kind of representation in a video game, because I haven't seen a lot of that, and it felt really good to be able to say, oh, okay, you're giving me this choice. You're giving me the option to actually, self-insert into this game. Another somewhat related topic, I am working on a story. I've written this story a couple years ago, but I'm working on editing it. When I wrote it, I was very cis heteronormative oriented because I wasn't really aware of the queer community. And now now that I'm part of more involved in this, more aware of these people around me, I realized that my story really needed to add some queerness to it. So there is a group of people who are human, but a little different human, and they already use gender neutral pronouns. So I decided to edit one of my main characters to be gender neutral or gender fluid, and I'm working on changing their pronouns throughout the whole story, which is using neopronouns, pronouns that their society, would use. And it's quite a process to remember which ones go where. In other news, I have been looking at possibly moving. I sort of just got it into my head that, maybe it's time for me to find my own place. So I started looking at possibly getting a manufactured home. I had no idea what I was jumping into when I started looking. It turns out that manufactured homes on rented land can't get a normal lease. And when I talked to the leasing agent, they were like, yeah, because your sketchy employment at the beginning of the year, we can't give you a lease until you can prove you have regular hours and have better income. So that was like this huge stressful thing for a week, and then ended up, I'm on hold right now while I get my hours and upload paychecks so they can see, yeah, I actually do have a job. I actually do have income. I can afford to pay a mortgage. In more social and news, I have bought myself some new binders. I decided that I would really like to have something I know fit properly, and I got this voucher for some binders at a local store. So I went and got that. I got some white ones. I'm wearing one now, just to have something besides the black. I got this little short one that I kind of really like the look of with my Hawaiian style shirts here. I also am noticing that people at work are starting to possibly use my correct pronouns. My PIN possibly may finally start having an effect. I was working with a coworker from another crew for the first time, and after a few days, we were working in a group with other people, and he properly gendered me without me having to introduce myself with my they them pronouns, which means that, he was actually paying attention to that, which was nice. I also had another coworker who I've discussed several times with about him misgendering me, and he used the correct pronouns on the same day once or twice, and I was like, wow, that's awesome, finally. And a third coworker has been substituting every time he uses she or her, substitutes my name in. I don't know if he's just allergic to they them pronouns, or if he just can't wrap his head around how to use them when he's not talking about some, you know, they person that he's not directly in contact with. People use they them all the time with unknown people, but at least it's something. At this point, a year in, I'll take a sidestep of something rather than a total, complete disregard of nothing. I also my new outfit, I can't remember, I believe it was this month that I bought a whole new wardrobe, a gender affirming wardrobe that I really, really enjoy. It's really helped my body dysphoria in that I now feel comfortable in the way I'm presenting myself in public in casual wear. And it's made me less aware of, how I feel really feminine or I don't feel gender neutral. And I really like the style I've picked. It's really helped me feel more gender neutral when I can sort of mix and match what how a masculine person might wear their shirt, and how what kind of the style of pants. And it's the first time I've actually, kitty, it's the first time I've, really had my own style. And when I was out at a work event in public this month, it was the first time that I got to wear this new style out where my coworkers could see it. And I did have a couple of people comment that they liked my outfit, they liked my style, and that felt really, really good to be complimented that, I chose this for myself and people are noticing. And I'm just really pleased with that. Because of the changes that have been happening this month, the dysphoria I was feeling around my medications has sort of lifted. I still know I'm not passing as anything but feminine in public. At that event, it was out in public, and one of the event people were like, she, her, and I was like, okay. But because I'm feeling more confident in myself and in the way I look, and these changes are still happening, and because I've decided that, this may be a permanent thing. When I started tea, I was like, I think I'm only going to be on it for a short time, get the changes I want, and then stop. But the strength increase, the muscle mass increase has been absolutely life-changing. I had a week back from an accident several years ago, and that has pretty much disappeared since starting tea. And I don't know that I want to ever live with that injury again. If I lose my muscle mass, I don't know if it's going to come back. So I'm like, what if I stay on tea? My voice, am I okay with my voice getting deeper than I originally wanted it? If I stay on tea, how deep is my voice eventually going to get? And thinking that I'm going to be on this long term and these changes are going to keep happening, possibly to the point where I'm uncomfortable with them. and I'll have to reevaluate. I'm thinking that I'm going to stay on the dose I'm at now, just to keep the changes slow, just to be able to really check in with myself and go, okay, how am I feeling about this? How do I feel about it going further than it is right now? And also because I'm more comfortable with myself, I'm thinking I'm not going to go off the finasteride at this time. I was really considering that for a couple of months, maybe 3 or 4 months, just because I was so frustrated as being tagged as a female, as a woman all the time. And that's still happening in public, but because, I'm starting to get more gender affirming at work, and my outfits and the way I feel about myself has been growing more confident in the other changes I've been making, I don't feel that urgent need to just look masculine anymore. So I have a doctor's appointment next week, so that's why I'm really thinking about it right now. And I think at this time, I'm going to stay on the dose and the finasteride as I am, just so I have that time to make these decisions, have that time to really just not watch everything go so fast that I feel like maybe I'm not sure about it, because I'm not sure about how far I want to go, but I do know what I don't want to lose. So I'm wrapping my head around this concept of being on T for the rest of my life rather than just a year or two. Oh, that was a lot to talk about. A lot of life events happening this month. If you made it all the way through this 20-minute video, thank you for listening. Thank you for being interested in what my life holds beyond just how the T is physically affecting me, and how I'm feeling about myself and my place in the world right now. It makes me feel seen that, at least 1 or 2 people are here and care. So I will talk to you again soon.